The metallic hum of the spaceship echoed in the vast, silent void of space. Inside the training chamber, illuminated by an eerie blue glow, Commander Alex Raine adjusted his uniform. He glanced at the holographic panel displaying the day's agenda: physical drills, combat stances, and basic human techniques. He sighed, knowing this assignment was unlike anything he'd faced before. She stepped in. Zynara, the alien girl from the planet Karathes. Her pale, translucent skin shimmered under the lights, and her large, obsidian eyes studied him with a mix of curiosity and defiance. Her species, the Kyrians, were known for their physical agility but lacked structured combat knowledge. That was why Alex had been sent, a human coach to prepare a Kyrian warrior for the Galactic Alliance. Zynara tilted her head, her silvery hair flowing like liquid moonlight. Alex gestured for her to step closer. He began explaining the first stance, planting his feet firmly and bending his knees slightly. His voice was steady as he described the balance and precision required. Zynara watched intently, her alien features betraying no emotion. She attempted to mimic the position, but her movements were fluid to the point of being unnatural. Her body bent and stretched in ways a human's could not, making her attempts both mesmerizing and unsettling. Alex approached her, his voice softer now, guiding her into alignment. Her skin felt cool under his hands, almost like touching silk left out on a winter night. Their lessons continued for weeks. Each session brought them closer, not just physically, as Alex corrected her form, but emotionally, as they began to understand each other's worlds. Zynara was fascinated by human emotions, which Kyrians rarely experienced. Alex, in turn, was drawn to her alien grace and the depth behind her enigmatic gaze. One day, after an exhausting session, Zynara paused. She leaned against the chamber wall, her breathing steady despite the effort. Alex handed her a bottle of synthesized water. She took it, her fingers brushing against his. There was a pause. She asked why humans valued touch so much. Alex hesitated, explaining that it was a way to connect, to feel understood. Her curiosity deepened, and she asked him to show her. The room seemed to grow smaller as Alex placed a hand on her arm, his fingers tracing the intricate, glowing patterns that pulsed on her skin. Their connection grew in intensity, each touch and glance becoming charged with unspoken words. Zynara began to confide in Alex about the pressures of representing her species, the loneliness of being the only Kyrian among humans. Alex, in turn, shared his own struggles, the weight of expectations as a seasoned coach and the walls he'd built around himself. As weeks turned to months, their sessions took on a darker undertone. The line between duty and desire blurred. Alex felt himself falling into a forbidden bond, aware of the consequences but unable to pull away. Zynara, too, felt a transformation within her, a stirring of emotions her species rarely experienced. One evening, after a particularly grueling drill, Zynara stood close to Alex. Her voice was quiet, almost a whisper, as she spoke of how humans were so different from her kind. She admitted that she found their capacity to love both fascinating and dangerous. Alex, unable to resist the pull any longer, stepped closer. The room seemed to dissolve as they crossed the boundary that had kept them apart. Their worlds collided in a storm of emotion and sensation, a union of two beings who had never been meant to find each other. But with this connection came a price. The Galactic Alliance had strict rules against such relationships. Their bond, though powerful, was a secret that could unravel everything they had worked for. Yet neither could deny the pull, the way their very souls seemed to orbit each other like twin stars in a boundless galaxy. As the spaceship drifted through the void, Alex and Zynara continued their lessons, each session an intricate dance of discipline and passion. They knew the risks, the inevitable fallout of their choices. But for now, they clung to each other, finding solace in the darkness of space, where only the stars bore witness to their forbidden love. Days turned into weeks, and their training sessions became more intense. The ship moved through uncharted parts of space, far from the watchful eyes of the Galactic Alliance. Zynara's skills improved, her movements sharper and more precise. Alex felt a strange sense of pride watching her progress, but it was more than that. There was something about the way she looked at him now. Her gaze lingered just a little longer, her voice softer when she spoke his name. One evening, after the day's drills, Zynara sat cross-legged on the floor of the training chamber. The faint glow of the control panel painted her face in soft light. Alex sat across from her, his muscles aching from hours of demonstrations and adjustments. She tilted her head, the way she often did when she was about to ask a question. "Why do humans fight so much?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but there was a hint of genuine curiosity. Alex leaned back against the wall, thinking about her question. He explained that humans fought for many reasons: territory, survival, power. But sometimes, he added, they fought for things they loved. He told her about Earth's history, how wars had been waged for freedom, family, and even hope. Zynara listened closely, her dark eyes unblinking. She told him that Kyrians did not fight for such things. Her people saw emotions as a weakness, a distraction from their purpose. That was why she had been chosen to represent her species, because she had been trained to suppress emotion. "But I feel something now," she said, her voice quieter. She looked at him, her expression unreadable. Alex felt his chest tighten. He wanted to tell her what he was feeling too, but he stopped himself. Instead, he changed the subject, asking her about Karathes. She described her planet, its sky filled with shifting colors, its oceans shimmering with bioluminescent light. She spoke of the towering crystal forests and the cities built into mountain peaks. As she spoke, Alex couldn't help but notice the sadness in her voice. She confessed that she had not been home in years. She had been taken for training at a young age and sent on missions across the galaxy. Her life had been filled with duty and responsibility, leaving little room for anything else. That night, as Zynara returned to her quarters, Alex stayed behind in the training chamber. He stared at the stars outside the window, feeling torn. He knew he was crossing a line, but he could not stop thinking about her. The next day, during their session, something felt different. Zynara moved with a grace that was almost hypnotic. When Alex stepped closer to correct her stance, her hand brushed against his. It was brief, but it sent a spark through him. She did not pull away, and neither did he. Later, as they stood by the observation deck, Zynara spoke again about emotions. She said she had been taught to see them as dangerous, but now she was not so sure. She asked Alex what it felt like to care for someone. He tried to explain, fumbling for the right words. It felt like wanting to protect them, wanting to see them happy, even if it came at a cost. Zynara stepped closer. Her large, dark eyes searched his face. Her voice was steady as she said that she thought she understood now. Alex felt his resolve breaking. He told himself to keep his distance, to remember his duty as her coach, but the pull between them was too strong. He told her they should focus on her training, but Zynara interrupted him. She said she did not want to avoid what she was feeling anymore. They stood in silence for a moment, the hum of the ship the only sound. Then Zynara reached out, her hand resting on his chest. Her touch was light, but it sent a wave of warmth through him. Alex felt his defenses crumble completely. Their connection deepened in the days that followed. They still trained, still pushed each other to be stronger, but their moments alone became something more. Zynara began to smile, something Alex had never seen her do before. Her laughter was rare, but when it came, it filled the room like music. But their bond did not go unnoticed. The ship's AI, programmed to monitor all activity, flagged their interactions as unusual. A report was sent to the Galactic Alliance, detailing their proximity and behavior. Alex and Zynara remained unaware, lost in their growing connection. One evening, as they sat together in the dimly lit observation deck, Alex confessed that he had never felt this way before. He told her that she had changed him, made him see the universe differently. Zynara responded that she felt the same, though she was afraid of what it meant for her. Their moment was interrupted by the sharp tone of an incoming message. Alex checked the panel, and his heart sank. The Alliance was sending an envoy to inspect the ship. They had been discovered. Alex turned to Zynara, his expression grave. He told her that they would have to end this, that the Alliance would never allow their bond to continue. Zynara's eyes darkened, and she asked if he truly believed that humans and Kyrians were so different. Alex wanted to say no, but he knew the truth. The galaxy was not ready for them. As the ship prepared to receive the envoy, Alex and Zynara shared one last moment together. They stood by the window, staring at the endless stars. Alex told her that no matter what happened, she had made him believe in something greater. Zynara replied that she would never forget what he had taught her, not just about combat, but about what it meant to feel. When the envoy arrived, Alex and Zynara stood side by side, their faces expressionless. They did not speak, but their eyes held a promise. Whatever came next, their connection would remain, a secret written in the stars. The Galactic Alliance envoy arrived with cold precision. Their ship, sleek and shimmering with advanced technology, docked with Alex and Zynara's vessel without a sound. A group of officers stepped aboard, clad in silver uniforms that reflected the dim light of the corridors. Leading them was Commander Alex, a stern-faced veteran known for his loyalty to the Alliance's rules. Alex and Zynara stood at attention in the main briefing chamber. The air felt heavy with tension, the kind that made every second stretch endlessly. Alex's heart raced, but his face betrayed nothing. He had been through countless inspections, but this was different. This time, he had something to hide. Commander Alex's voice was sharp as he began the inspection. He demanded to see training records, mission logs, and communication transcripts. The officers moved through the ship like shadows, scanning every corner, every console. Alex watched as Zynara maintained her composure. She stood tall, her alien grace undeniable. But he could see the slight tension in her jaw, the faint tremor in her fingers as she clasped her hands behind her back. He wanted to reach out to her, to offer some comfort, but he knew it would only make things worse. Hours passed as the inspection continued. Alex answered Alex's questions with careful precision, his voice steady. He explained their training schedule, Zynara's progress, and the ship's routine operations. Alex's piercing gaze seemed to search for cracks in his story, but Alex gave him none. Finally, Alex turned his attention to Zynara. He asked her about her training, her impressions of the program, and her readiness for the upcoming Alliance evaluations. Zynara's answers were measured and calm, her voice carrying the confidence of someone who had been trained to suppress emotion. But then Alex's questions took a more personal turn. He asked about her interactions with Alex, her thoughts on human instructors, and whether she had found the training environment distracting. Zynara hesitated for a fraction of a second, barely noticeable, but enough for Alex to see. Before she could respond, Alex stepped in. He explained that their interactions had been strictly professional, focused entirely on her preparation for the Alliance. Alex's expression remained unreadable as he listened. The inspection concluded with no obvious findings, but Alex was not satisfied. He ordered Alex and Zynara to remain on the ship while he reviewed the data further. The officers departed, leaving the two of them alone once more. As the envoy's ship detached and drifted into the void, Alex felt the weight of the situation settle on his shoulders. He turned to Zynara, who was staring out the window, her expression unreadable. "They are not done with us," she said, her voice quiet. Alex nodded. He knew Alex would not let this go easily. The Alliance was strict, and any deviation from protocol was met with severe consequences. "We need a plan," Alex said. "Something to keep them from finding out the truth." Zynara turned to face him. Her eyes, usually so calm and detached, were filled with something new, determination. "There is no plan that will change who we are," she said. "They will see what they want to see, no matter how well we hide." Alex stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then we need to give them a different story. Something to focus on, something that keeps them from looking too closely at us." Zynara tilted her head, considering his words. "What are you suggesting?" Alex explained his idea. They would stage a conflict between them, something that would appear natural given the high-stress environment of training. A disagreement, perhaps even a physical altercation, would give Alex a reason to dismiss their connection as nothing more than professional tension. "It is risky," Zynara said, "but it might work." The next day, they put their plan into action. During a training session in the combat chamber, Alex deliberately pushed Zynara harder than usual. He criticized her movements, his tone harsher than it had ever been. Zynara responded in kind, her voice sharp as she challenged his authority. Their argument escalated, their voices echoing through the ship. Zynara's movements became more aggressive, her strikes landing closer to Alex than they should have. Alex retaliated, blocking her attacks with force. The tension between them was palpable, and for a moment, it felt almost too real. The ship's AI recorded the entire exchange and flagged it for review. When Sarek received the report, he found exactly what he had been looking for: a reason to dismiss any suspicion of intimacy. "The Alliance does not tolerate weakness," Sarek said during his next transmission. "But conflict born from competition is acceptable. See that it does not interfere with your mission." Alex and Zynara breathed a quiet sigh of relief. Their plan had worked, but the cost was clear. They would have to continue their charade, maintaining a facade of professionalism while keeping their true feelings hidden. As the envoy ship disappeared into the distance, Alex and Zynara stood together in the dim light of the training chamber. They did not speak, but the silence between them was filled with understanding. Their connection remained, unbroken and undeniable, a secret they carried like a shared star in the vast galaxy. For now, they were safe. But they both knew the real fight was only beginning.